Now, if you know me personally, and if you don't know me personally, you can get to know me on this platform. So subscribe and like. I love vintage. Ooh, the craftsmanship, the craftwomanship, everything is just so good. I just love everything about it. And that is why I wanted to start off with sewing gloves, different styles of gloves, because they're just so, ooh, it just feels so, they're just so sexy, just so subtle, so many different styles. And if you happen to research and just discover different styles, again, ancient, antique, vintage, they're just so beautiful, from the embroidery to the stitching to the types of fabric. It's just so beautiful. And I really want to bring that back. I feel like it's so relevant, all right, in the climate that we live in. I don't really want to get into that because that's not what this video is about. And it's something about it. It's just so graceful, just so beautiful. And I really want to take it back as a style, because these gloves, especially in the last century and even before that, have always been a representation of class and power. And I really want to investigate that, especially as a woman of African descent. Alkebulan descent, I'm reclaiming that as well. If you don't know, Africa was not coined Africa by Africans, okay? By foreigners. Africans called that continent, the motherland was called Alkebulan, which means Garden of Eden, okay? Yeah, but I want to investigate. I want to dive deeper. You know, I love depth. Go into that because of the representation of gloves. And it's so interesting, as I was doing research again, a lot of women, even in like the 1920s, 30s, when you wore gloves, you couldn't tell the class of a woman who wore gloves because you couldn't see their hands, you couldn't see their palms. You know, a woman who was a higher class, she had more dainty, you could tell she wasn't a laborer, she didn't work like that, right? Versus a woman who was a worker, versus, you know, my ancestors, we already know why they were brought here and all the work they did to build this damn country. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that either. But I want to reclaim that, and I'm reclaiming that right now for all of us, because when it comes to classism, racism, you know, elitism, all that, just dismantling all that, to be able to do that in fashion, even though fashion, it has been historically and still is very classist, very sexist, very racist, very exploitive, oppressive, all, i.e. everything that should not exist, that's anti. I really desire to reclaim that for us. Why not? Me, imagine wearing something like this, right? Showing the shoulders, very risque, in like the 18th, like 19th, you know, like, I don't know, like 1910 or like 1880 or whatever. Whenever women really got the freedom that we so-called have now, right? Even though we don't get paid. Let me stop, because I can digress into so many different things. Yeah, when you look at the styles of how they were shortened and lengthened in the different eras and what the culture was reflecting, and that was reflected in music like jazz, and how that changed the culture and that changed the style. Well, the culture really influenced the style being changed. And, you know, being conservative versus not. And, you know, if you were showing more of this, which would be so risque 100 years ago, and then like fast forward to like 40s or 50s, when it became more like, ooh, yeah, like let's show this off. And how you see opera gloves, how they became longer. And just, you know, when you look at photos and different styles of dresses that women wore, and even if they weren't even showing this much, if this part of the arm was showing, that was risque, so they had to cover it. You know, like, I just think that's crazy, and that wasn't determined by us. Isn't that something? that wasn't even determined by us. So the culture and the style, a lot of it was not determined by us. It was projected onto us. So me going back and reclaiming these styles the way that like I feel fit and I please, and inspiring women to do so, that's beautiful, that's powerful. Because why that's like, why can't we reclaim our style? Okay, styles that have been influenced and taken back and shortened and lengthened based off of our bodies as objects, when all we wanted to do is just, you know, just be fly, beautiful, graceful, everything that we just exude. So that's why I am going to just keep on going with this. And I don't know, you might see something, you know, pretty soon. I don't know. Hold up. Why are we letting somebody who don't even really know the anatomy, don't even deal with things we gotta deal with in our bodies every month, and just everything as women, determine how we should dress? Like, I wish, listen, this is why I couldn't have been like here like 100 years ago, because I don't know what the hell, I don't know what they would have done with me. But yeah, like, what you mean? What you mean I can't show this part? Like, what? Just a little wrist? I can't show a wrist because that's too sexy? Huh? What you mean? I have to switch up how I just show my limbs just because it makes you feel uncomfortable even though you want me to feel more? Make it make sense. And that's something I just, so many, when you really look at the history of fashion, and especially, you know, women's fashion and just garments, it's just crazy because of, it's been so, it still is dominated by men, and like how they control the narrative or how our bodies should look. And, you know, and this is no way a smear campaign against them or anything. I just think it's even so today, when you look at a lot of fashion companies, a lot of fast fashion companies, a lot of the CEOs and founders are men, and most of their clothing, their revenue is generated from women's clothing. So it's like, again, like, men who don't exist in our body are telling us and influencing us and projecting onto us how we should wear our own garments, how they should look, the styles. No, I want to be able to see, like, I'm not just trying to be the only one, not just me, like, I'm talking about the whole collective of other just fly, phenomenal, banging, talented palm engineers, designers, seamstresses, women out here reclaiming our fashion, our clothes, our style. Because there's a certain synergy when it comes to garments, when it comes to creating it, when it comes to designing it, the conception, when it comes to styling it. Okay, there's a big difference between fashion and style and trends. And a lot of what we see now is just a lot of trends, again, that are projected on us, and all this influence of things that we think we need by people who really don't even care about us. When we talk about, you know, oh man, I need to go deeper into this, but like, when you talk about the chemicals and a lot of polyester and a lot of this like synthetic fabrics that we put on our body because yes, it looks good, yeah, you might look like a snack and all that, okay, cool, but are the people who are marketing to you, do you think they really have in mind, they're thinking about how that same fabric, the same compounds and chemicals in that same fabric, in that same garment that you bought, like how that's influencing your body, how that's influencing your reproductive health, how that's influencing your mental and cognitive health, how that all that is gonna contribute and influence your babies? Do you think they really have these conversations? No, they don't. And this is why I have to speak on this. Like, I have to. And I really trust that moving forward, that a lot of these conversations are had in this industry, because fashion, oh man, there's so many issues. And I'm really glad that, although, again, in spite of the climate and what we went through last year, it's making a lot of companies wake up. Okay, wake up. And I trust that moving forward, that I could be talking about these issues in the past. Like, yeah, remember when we used to, remember when these companies used to, and now we've, you know, our consciousness, we're more aware, and we don't subscribe to that. We don't support that no more. Because I'll be damned, like me having this awareness, knowing and seeing so many of my sisters, so many, you know, moms, my little sister, you know what I'm saying? Little sisters out there, you know, grandmas out here buying clothes, you know, I mean, cause, and I get it. Like I'm a shopaholic too, but not really aware and like knowing like what is actually in what they're wearing and how like over time wearing these fabrics have the impact it has on our bodies, okay? This is why I do this. This is why Take Back Your Throne is Take Back Your Throne, okay? Because we gotta take it back, take it back. Gotta take it back, because if we don't, who will, okay? And that's what I'm gonna do.